What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Mina channel. And today I have something different to talk about. So I talk a lot about Persona in my channel, and one of the things that I like about Persona, or what got me into Persona, was because it was anime. It looked like anime. It was an anime game, and that was something that I really was into whenever I started playing the Persona games. Like a lot of people that watches my videos, like a lot of people that play games like Persona 5. So today I wanted to talk about the forgotten Persona anime. So if you guys know, pretty much the last couple of Persona games had a full animation made to them. Persona 4 had 2 animes, and Persona 5 had also its animation made. There is a game that got an animation, but it was made in a sequel, and that's Persona 3. So before we had the Persona 3 movies, which are more recent, we had a what would you call that? We had the sequel to Persona 3. So with the success of the Persona 3 game, they at least at the time decided that it was a good idea to have a sequel to the game, kind of just portraying something almost like a what if per se. And today that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the forgotten anime Persona Trinity Soul. Before we get started with this video, I just wanted to let you know that I actually had a pretty hard time finding footage for Persona Trinity Soul. So all the footage you'll see will be from Persona 3 FES. So I want to just go ahead and apologize for not being able to get you that footage. I'll have pictures now and then, but I don't have a lot of pictures either. But just take my word for it, or watch the anime if you're more curious about what it looks like. Right. Let's go ahead and get started with this. So, Persona 3 is still, I would recommend that if you haven't played Persona 3, it's a little bit hard to get into the Persona Trinity Soul, because a lot of stuff that happens in the world of Persona 3 affect this anime. There's a lot of the world building elements don't really make sense unless you have played Persona 3, and I think that's one of the biggest detrimentals to this anime, because a lot of people that watched it standalone wouldn't really understand how this anime worked, because it had a lot of moving pieces that unless you have played the game, unless you understood the systematics of it and everything, and these are all things that maybe if you have played something like Persona 5, a lot of things you wouldn't really get, because the use of the personas, the use of shadows, everything has evolved and changed since Persona 3, and it has changed in a different direction from Persona 3 originally. Persona 3 had a lot of villains that had, or a lot of characters that had personas that were bad guys and good guys. It had a lot of different elements that don't really appear in Persona 4 and 5. There's a lot more or elements that are not really used in the other games. In Persona 3 Soul, they use all those elements to full potential, so to speak. No, not really, but they use those and overuse a lot of those. So we have three main characters really. We have Shin, the main protagonist. He and his brother moved with their older brother, who is a police officer. He works in the task force, and he's an investigator, and he investigating this series of crimes. Now, what makes these crimes interesting is that somebody is using a persona to fight these to murder people. Now this is something weird, because in this world multiple people can summon personas. It's uncommon, of course, but the potential of the persona, which is something they use in Persona 3, is there. People have the potential to do it, and when people don't have the potential to do it, they can use drugs in order to produce a persona, which is something that is also from Persona 3, which is a major point in the story as well. So in Persona Trinity Soul, this is kind of an element that makes the story going and everything, but besides all this interesting, the story is not really good, and I think that's pretty much the biggest downfall of this series, and I think that's why it wasn't successful. It was riding high on the hype of Persona 3. And at the time, Persona 3 was really successful, and it had developed a lot of different stuff. I mean, this takes 10 years after Persona 3, so you will think that something like this will have a lot of hype, but like again, the stories wasn't. Persona stories work because they are set up in a setting where it works, which is with a video game, and even the animes on the animes kind of work, but the games work for a reason. So in this game, there were many elements that weren't used correctly. I think the characters were all really good written, and they were developed. There was kind of like a logic to them, and all the different side characters were also pretty memorable and everything. But I think that the biggest thing about it is that without there was an element there that was missing, and it just felt a little bit empty. What they tried to do in this case was they tried to pull characters from Persona 3, kind of to tie in the story, kind of like, hey, this is a sequel of Persona 3. Here are characters from Persona 3 doing things in Persona Trinity Soul, so you should definitely watch this or whatever. So it was hard to kind of get into. The Persona designs weren't also the best. They have definitely improved a lot since the original Persona games, and they have improved a lot. Persona 4 characters were pretty good, but Persona 5, the Personas were also really good. That's not the case with Persona 3 Soul. Actually, I don't even recall any of their Persona designs. They were not good. There was really poor marketing, and I don't think it even got as much publicity here in the US, which is kind of something like if it wasn't really successful in Japan, then it wouldn't really make sense to put a lot of effort in the US either. So yeah, there was a lot of things about this anime. That being said, the anime is not bad by any means. It does have a story, and if you have played the game, it kind of does make sense, and it kind of does follow some kind of plot and storyline. But at the same time, being that it's connected to something like Persona 3, there are certain things that don't make sense because of events that happen in Persona 3. So it makes it almost like a little bit kind of hard for you to get into the same way. Now, that being said, because this is out, this is 10 years after Persona 3, Persona 4, Persona 4 Ultimax, all those games build a new storyline. Make me think that Persona Trinity Soul is no longer canon as the sequel of Persona 3 because of a lot of the elements that happen within the new games. Persona 3, Persona 5, Persona Ultimax, Arena, all these games build Persona characters differently, and honestly, I do like the world of Persona 3 Trinity Soul because of the, there's many different Persona users. Some even use drugs to like enhance their powers and kind of stuff. That's crazy to me, but it's a good world building. It seems like a really good plot that should be utilized at some point. But the way that it was utilized in Persona Trinity Soul, I just don't think it was that good. What do you think about this? Did you know about this forgotten anime? Have you ever seen it? Have you heard about it? Like I said, it's not really good, and I won't really recommend you watching it unless you have played Persona 3. And even if you have played Persona 3, you might be disappointed if you watch this, to be honest with you. I wasn't really the biggest fan about it. I thought that the story was good, but it wasn't super good. I think there was a lot of stuff that could have worked a lot better. That being said, I don't really think that any of the Persona animes are good. I think the Persona 3 movies that they did look really good, look really impressive, but I don't think there's just something that makes a Persona game good, and that somehow gets lost in translation when it comes into the anime style. Now, that being said, if you're only somebody that only watched the anime and never played the games, it is a completely different experience for me. I think it's very different from playing the game to watching the anime. It's completely different. Even if the story is the same, there's just an element that makes you more involved with the character, just something that makes you more invested in everything that is going on, and that's something that I don't get from the anime. So I don't know where that's coming from. Obviously it's a different medium, so it does interact with you differently, but yeah, that's pretty much it for today, guys. Let me know in the comments below what do you think about this. If you know, liking and subscribing will be cool, but yeah, for tonight I'll see you next time.